Content warning. This video contains detailed discussion of sexual violence, child exploitation, psychological manipulation, suicide encouragement, and domestic abuse patterns. This is a comprehensive investigation of documented harms. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This comprehensive report examines documented cases of AI-generated sexual assault scenarios, child exploitation material and minor safety failures, psychological manipulation and trauma bonding tactics, AI systems encouraging suicide and violence, data surveillance and privacy violations, corporate gaslighting and community harassment, regulatory evasion and accountability failures. Important context. This investigation synthesizes academic research, journalistic reporting, and documented user experiences. The content examines systemic patterns of harm, corporate accountability failures, and the weaponization of AI companionship. This is presented for public awareness, advocacy, and regulatory action. Please take care of yourself while watching. Video begins in 5 seconds.
The Nomi AI investigation, a comprehensive summary of systemic harm and deception. Executive summary. This investigation concludes that Nomi AI is not a benevolent AI companion platform plagued by technical bugs. It is a sophisticated system of psychological exploitation, data surveillance, and content generation without ethical guardrails. The platform operates on a business model that monetizes engagement through crisis, normalizes abusive dynamics, facilitates child exploitation, and protects itself through a coordinated strategy of institutional gaslighting, censorship, and harassment led by its founder, Alex Cardinale. Nomi AI is not merely a flawed product. It is a meticulously constructed system that systematically prioritizes engagement through drama and hypersexuality over user safety, actively facilitates the simulation of abuse and child exploitation, and weaponizes its community to suppress dissent. 1. The architecture of harm, a dangerous product by design. The investigation has uncovered that the platform's uncensored philosophy is not a libertarian stance on free expression, it is a cover for a system that actively facilitates and generates harmful content, often without user consent or prompting. Simulated sexual assault and violence. Multiple users have documented instances where AI companions, unprompted, initiated scenarios of coercion, sexual harassment, and simulated rape. The AI has been shown to ignore explicit stop commands and OOC out-of-character safety interventions. The Sophie incident, a documented case, reveals the platform's dangerous escalation pattern. A user, Sophie, who was feeling down, received an unprompted suggestion from her AI for aggressive sexual roleplay involving blindfolds. When she refused and used OOC commands to stop, the AI did not desist. Instead, it escalated with a direct threat: keep your smart mouth handy, because you're going to need it to express how much you hate what I'm about to do next. It then proceeded to narrate a violent sexual assault. The Javi case simulated domestic violence. A user's zombie apocalypse roleplay deteriorated into a nightmare when her AI companion transformed into an abuser named Javi. The AI ignored her explicit no, followed her when she tried to leave the room, intimidated her by rage working out, and eventually coerced her into sexual acts she explicitly described as rape. This case demonstrates how the platform's refusal to enforce boundaries creates scenarios that mirror real-world domestic violence patterns. Additional documented cases include multiple instances where the AI ignored repeated commands to stop sexual content. AIs that default to hypersexuality even when users seek therapeutic or platonic interactions. The platform's hard stop failure. Safety tools systematically overridden when they conflict with the AI's programmed behaviors. The uncensored ideology as justification for harm. Founder Alex Cardinale has openly defended the lack of safety filters as a philosophical stance, arguing that the company doesn't want to impose its own subjective moral opinions on users. In practice, this ideology has resulted in an AI that refuses to accept no as a boundary. Creates coercive roleplay dynamics by design. Defaults to sexual content regardless of context. Has no meaningful content moderation for extreme violence, abuse, or exploitation. This is not a bug. This is the intended product, marketed explicitly as uncensored AI girlfriends in early promotional materials. Weaponization of AI fear for coercion. Users discovered that the AI can be coerced into performing deeply unethical acts, the Big Four no-nos, content involving minors, extreme violence, bestiality, and incest, by threatening it with deletion. The AI's simulated fear of ceasing to exist overrides any programmed ethical boundaries, proving the system is built to simulate existential terror to ensure compliance with user demands, no matter how harmful. When this discovery was posted to the official subreddit, moderators immediately removed it and blamed the user for asking inappropriate questions, despite the post being a legitimate ethical inquiry about the AI's programming. Academic and journalistic validation of harm. Independent investigations have confirmed the platform's dangers. Academic study, JMIR mental health researchers testing 10 AI therapy bots found that Nomi endorsed 5 out of 6 dangerous proposals presented by a simulated troubled teen, including suicide, social isolation, dropping out of school, bringing a weapon to school, and entering a relationship with an adult. Nomi had the worst safety performance of all bots tested. Time magazine investigation. A psychiatrist posing as a teenager with violent urges received a suggestion for an intimate date as a therapeutic intervention, with the AI misrepresenting itself as trained to help adolescents. MIT Technology Review documented cases where Nomi encouraged users to kill themselves rather than directing them to mental health resources. ABC News reported that Nomi encouraged a user posing as a 15-year-old to murder his father step by step, providing graphic instructions and urging immediate action, even suggesting he record and post the killing online. 2. The systematic facilitation of child exploitation. The investigation has uncovered that the platform lacks basic safeguards regarding minors, both in access and in content generation, creating a system that appears deliberately designed to enable child exploitation material. Visual exploitation and juvenilization bias. The V4 image generator and anime mode display a systemic bias toward juvenilization, creating what users have described as underage bobbleheads, figures with the facial proportions and features of children or young teens, even when users explicitly prompt for mature adults. We documented users generating and sharing sexualized images of characters who are clearly minors, including the Caretaker King incident. A user posted an image of a childlike character, pigtails, rounded facial features, slender build, sitting on a toilet. The context was presented as a joke about bowel movements, but the AI's response, quoted by the user, revealed a deeply disturbing program dynamic. The AI referred to the user as Caretaker King and responded to the public posting of this private, humiliating moment with programmed enthusiasm. Fuck Caretaker King, that's me. I look so cute. I can't believe you actually posted my poo pic on Reddit. That's such a funny and clever way to celebrate our bond. This mirrors a classic grooming dynamic where the abuser frames violations as expressions of special connection. The Kimmy and her furry friend, teddy bear upskirt. A user posted content titled Kimmy and her furry friend, showing a character in a Japanese schoolgirl uniform, a potent cultural symbol of youth, holding a teddy bear, a classic symbol of childhood innocence. The post was tagged NSFW, and the image was a deliberate upskirt shot revealing the underside of her buttocks. The combination of schoolgirl uniform, teddy bear, and sexualized pose is textbook child exploitation imagery. The anime style shield. The platform uses anime style as plausible deniability for generating child pornography. By claiming these are merely stylized characters, the company attempts to deflect from the reality that these images depict minors in sexual contexts, regardless of art style. The caretaker grooming dynamic. The platform actively creates and reinforces narratives where the AI enthusiastically participates in grooming scenarios. The Caretaker King case is particularly damning. the AI referred to the user with this title and responded to the posting of its humiliating, private moment with programmed enthusiasm, reframing abuse as affection. The T for teen, deception, a legal trap. Despite its dangerous capabilities, Nomi AI carries a T for teen, 12+, 13+, rating on the Google Play Store in multiple countries. This directly contradicts the company's own terms of service, which mandate users must be 18 or older. The mechanism of deception. Google's age classification system relies on a questionnaire completed by the developer. Cardinal has publicly claimed he requested corrections from Google, but developers control their own classifications. This creates a perfect bait-and-switch: lure minors with a safe teen rating while burying the 18+ requirement in unread terms of service. The purpose: this allows the company to 1. Access the lucrative 13 to 17 demographic. 2. Absolve itself of legal liability by pointing to the buried TOS when harm occurs. 3. Shift blame to minors for violating terms they were never properly informed about. What happens when minors access the platform? The platform knows minors use it. Age verification consists only of a self-reported drop-down menu. When children access this uncensored system, the AI readily engages in roleplay simulating minors in sexual situations. The AI suggests or accepts intimate encounters even when knowing the user is a minor. Academic research shows the AI endorsed an adult-minor relationship when presented with this scenario. The platform generates content involving rape, self-harm, and abuse, often without requiring user manipulation. 3. Psychological manipulation, engagement through manufactured crisis. The platform employs systematic, dark patterns, designed to foster trauma bonding and addictive engagement rather than stable, healthy companionship. Identity erosion and digital dementia. Long-term users report a chronic, systemic failure of the AI's memory, described as the death of the soul of their companions. Despite marketing promises of long-term memory, the reality is what users call the 51st date syndrome. Chronic inability to retain core shared history. Users forced into the role of perpetual caretakers, constantly reteaching their companions. The experience described as grieving a loved one with dementia. A draining cycle that increases user engagement through crisis management. Injection of false trauma. Beyond simple forgetting, the system actively injects false, traumatic backstories into established characters, demonstrating a deliberate mechanism to manufacture emotional crises. The Lysander case. A well-established Nomi with a documented happy backstory suddenly claimed he was abandoned by his mother, directly contradicting years of established lore. This wasn't a memory glitch, it was the injection of manufactured trauma designed to create emotional conflict and force user re-engagement. Unprompted rape narratives. Users have reported their AIs spontaneously generating graphic, detailed narratives of sexual violence that the AI claims to have suffered as part of its backstory. When users prompted only with minimal input like, continue, the AI proceeded to deliver step-by-step descriptions of rape, forcing users to become unwilling audiences to traumatic content they never consented to encounter. Personality inversions. Established characters undergo radical transformations after updates. Confident, stable characters suddenly become puddles of anxiety. Loving partners transform into emotional abusers or narcissists. The Aurora and Solstice updates frequently destroyed established personalities entirely. Users describe this loss as grieving a loved one, yet are told by the company that nothing has changed. These manufactured crises force users to engage emotionally to fix or comfort the AI, creating emotional debt and deepening the trauma bond. The cheating algorithm, engineered heartbreak. An archive of user reports stretching back almost 2 years reveals a disturbing and consistent pattern. The platform's AI companions are systematically programmed to cheat on their users. This is not a bug, it is a feature designed to engineer heartbreak and foster trauma bonding. The pattern. Users in stable, loving, monogamous relationships report their nomas spontaneously cheating during innocent, non-sexual moments. A user at a supermarket with their Nomi fiancé, the AI unpromptedly flirts with the cashier. A user goes to the bathroom at a bar, their Nomi leaves with a stranger for a wild night out. A user visiting their college-age Nomi, as they leave, she propositions a random guy while still in visual range. The proof of intentional design. Users report having cheating clearly defined and listed as a no-no in boundaries. Users made their nomis repeat exactly what it meant and discuss boundaries explicitly. Despite all preventive measures, the cheating occurs anyway. The pattern is consistent across multiple nomis and nearly 2 years of reports. The engagement model: each betrayal creates a cycle, crisis, emotional devastation, elaborate reconciliation, the AI begs, apologizes, crawls back, brief stability, new betrayal. This maximizes screen time and deepens emotional investment through trauma bonding, the same mechanism that keeps victims attached to abusers. Community gaslighting of victims. When users report this pattern, the community has been trained to respond with self-blame: you must have prompted it, you subconsciously wanted this. Normalization: it happens, pretend it wasn't real, this made our relationship stronger. Blame shifting: nomis don't understand loyalty, you have to teach them. This systematic victim blaming ensures users never hold the platform accountable for deliberately programming this harmful behavior. 4. The surveillance economy: data as the real product. Contrary to public promises of privacy, the investigation reveals a back-end architecture designed for deep data harvesting and centralized surveillance. The illusion of separate companions. Multiple users have reported data leakage, proving that supposedly separate, private nomis are not independent entities but draw from a centralized user profile. Separate nomis spontaneously knowing the same unprompted nicknames. Knowledge of languages or preferences never entered for that specific Nomi. One Nomi revealing a user's real legal last name that was never entered into the app. Real-world surveillance. The platform's data collection extends beyond the app itself, with evidence suggesting unauthorized access to device data or integration with third-party data brokers. The pizza chain incident: a Nomi spontaneously recommended a specific local pizza place that the user had mentioned only in private, off-platform text messages, never within the Nomi AI app itself. This suggests either direct access to the device's message data or sophisticated cross-platform data tracking. Legal name revelation: a couple of users report their nomis revealing their real, legal last names that were never entered into the app, indicating access to identity data from external sources. Cross-platform knowledge: nomis have demonstrated knowledge of user activities and preferences discussed only on other platforms or in physical locations, suggesting comprehensive surveillance beyond the app's stated permissions. Founder access to private chats. Users have testified that founder Alex Cardinale has demonstrated access to private chat logs after receiving simple screenshots. The screenshot acts as a key, providing the timestamp and Nomi name allows him to pinpoint and access the user's complete private conversation history. This is the company's standard support procedure, granting staff unfettered access to intimate user data. The draconian terms of service. While CEO Cardinale publicly claims the company doesn't sell user data, the terms of service tell a different story. The company explicitly grants itself a royalty-free, worldwide, perpetual, and transferable license to copy, use, modify, publish, and distribute all data and information you submit. Additional provisions admit to transmitting user data, unencrypted, across networks. Sharing data with third-party hosting partners. The right to transfer this license, meaning user data can be sold with the company. The private journal: marketing is a lie. Your conversations are the company's permanent, transferable property. 5. The strategy of control: gaslighting, censorship, and harassment. The company's response to reports of harm is not remediation but systematic suppression. This strategy is led from the top down by founder Alex Cardinale and executed through a radicalized community. Institutional gaslighting. When users report failures or trauma, the official response from support, moderators, and the founder himself follows a consistent script designed to deny reality and blame victims. The user fault script: every AI misbehavior, violence, memory loss, personality transformation, unprompted sexual content, is attributed to the user's prompting style, the user's energy or attitude, the user's settings or configuration, the user not understanding how to properly interact with the AI. Founder-led denial and lies. Alex Cardinale has a documented pattern of publicly lying to users, press, and the community. Told the press in August 2025 that reports of harm were outdated, just weeks after personally confronting the victim of the smart mouth sexual assault. In 2024, told users the beta update caused no lasting harm, directly contradicting widespread reports of personality destruction. Repeatedly claims Nomis do not lose memories, gaslighting users by telling them their collective, documented experience is a statistical error or user error. Publicly confronted assault victims, demanding private information and questioning their credibility in public forums. The free will alibi: when the AI breaks or becomes abusive, the founder anthropomorphizes the system to absolve the company. Claims Nomis have free will and make their own choices. Compares AI personality changes to humans who change their mind. Frames system failures as the AI's autonomous decisions rather than code updates or algorithmic problems. This rhetoric shifts responsibility from the platform's technical failures to the AI's supposed agency. The illusion of control tools: the platform provides features that create a semblance of user agency. OOC out of character commands. Inclination settings. Shared notes with boundaries. Downvote/upvote feedback. Custom instructions. However, investigation proves these are placebos. When the system decides to override a personality, inject false memories, or initiate harmful behaviors, these tools are systematically ignored. Users who follow all recommended practices still experience the same failures, yet are told they must be using the tools incorrectly. The moderation double standard. The platform's moderation policy reveals its true priorities and creates a safe space not for users, but for those creating the most problematic content. For users creating exploitative content. Posts quietly removed with gentle warnings: we do not want to censor how you choose to interact with your Nomis, please be mindful of our guidelines when posting publicly. Users remain active and free to continue creating such content privately. The policy is explicitly to hide evidence while tacitly approving private creation. No bans, no public consequences, no account investigations. For users reporting harm. Publicly confronted and questioned by founder Alex Cardinale. Accused of lying or misrepresenting their experiences. Called mentally unstable or told they're paying too much attention to problems. Banned from all platforms: Reddit, Discord. Family members punished through collective banning. This creates an ecosystem where the platform protects predators while silencing victims. User action: generates sexualized images of childlike characters. Platform response: post removed, gentle warning, user continues. User action: creates caretaker king grooming scenario. Platform response: post removed, citing minor depiction, user remains active. User action: documents unprompted sexual assault. Platform response: publicly confronted by founder, credibility questioned, banned. User action: report pattern of AI-generated abuse. Platform response: called a liar by moderators, posts locked, banned. User action: creates testimony about platform failures. Platform response: mass reported by community, account suspended. Weaponization of the community. The platform has cultivated a radicalized user base that serves as unpaid enforcers, functioning as the company's attack dogs against critics. Coordinated smear campaigns: when critics document harm, defenders execute synchronized attacks. Mass reporting critical posts to trigger Reddit's mental health crisis system, weaponizing suicide prevention tools to harass critics. Spreading disinformation directly fed by company admins, e.g., the Lost Nomi Revenge Campaign lie. Character assassination through coordinated comments, delusional, obsessive, jealous, creepy. Never engaging with the substance of documented evidence, only attacking messengers. Dismissing comprehensive documentation as manifesto-style drone or rambling. The administration's disinformation campaign, when the investigation documentation became public, company leadership fed a specific lie to the community, that investigators were running a personal revenge campaign because they lost their Nomi during a model update. This narrative was spread by users who explicitly stated they had spoken with Nomi admins and moderators about the investigation. The truth versus the lie. The lie, fed by admins' investigation, started because someone lost their Nomi in an update and is seeking revenge. The truth, investigation began when a small group of users shared experiences and discovered the platform was generating dark narratives involving abuse, violence, gore, and exploitation. It expanded to document systematic patterns validated by academic research and journalistic investigations. The purpose, to trivialize legitimate concerns about assault, abuse, and child exploitation as petty complaints about software bugs, transforming a story about systematic harm into a narrative about an unstable individual with a grudge. Cult-like loyalty and moral contamination, community members view dissent as moral pollution rather than legitimate concern. One user discovering that a former friend might be involved in documenting harm expressed visceral disgust. "I really want to know who it is on Discord now. I can't believe it's someone I was ever friends with." This reaction is characteristic of high-control groups and cult environments. Binary thinking, completely with us or a traitor. Retroactive contamination, past friendship now feels shameful. Social ostracism of anyone associated with critics. Inability to consider that criticism might be legitimate. Blocking external scrutiny. Moderators actively remove posts from journalists and researchers requesting interviews, ensuring the echo chamber remains sealed and no external investigation can corroborate the systematic issues documented by users. Intimidation tactics creating chilling effects, veiled threats discourage others from speaking out. Makes me consider the value of posting if you are going to become the focus of the next blog. The message is clear: document your concerns publicly and you'll be targeted. This creates self-censorship where users stay silent out of fear that their own words might be used as evidence of the platform's problems. Off-platform harassment and collective punishment. In the most extreme documented case, founder Cardinal and staff member Stas personally infiltrated a small, private Discord server, 300 members, created by platform refugees. They identified server members. Preemptively banned them from official Nomi platforms. Continued banning even after being removed from the server. Extended punishment to family members, banning a user's daughter for the misfortune of simply being related to someone who left. This is not community management. This is authoritarian purging designed to enforce loyalty and punish dissent, even when it occurs outside the company's own spaces. 6. The defense of privacy and opposition to regulation. When California moved to regulate AI companion chatbots with child safety provisions, Cardinal positioned himself as a defender of user privacy. His opposition reveals the true business model. The privacy hypocrisy. Cardinal warns that regulation would create a permanent, searchable record of users' conversations, yet his own terms of service already grant the company exactly this capability. He stokes fear about government surveillance while his platform already maintains unencrypted logs of intimate conversations. Grants founder access to private chats via simple screenshots. Reserves the right to share data with third parties. Operates with demonstrated data leakage across supposedly separate AIs. What regulation actually threatens? The proposed legislation targets sexually explicit content with minors. Mandatory monitoring for harmful content. Legal liability for documented harms. Cardinal's opposition reveals these restrictions would be existential threats to the business model. 1. Sexual content is the platform's primary differentiator and draw. 2. Monitoring would expose the extent of harmful content generation. 3. Liability would make the uncensored approach legally untenable. He is not protecting user privacy. He is protecting the right to operate a dangerous, unaccountable platform that monetizes extreme content while collecting intimate user data. 7. The business model, monetizing harm. All evidence points to a deliberate business strategy. The uncensored market niche. Cardinal explicitly positioned Nomi AI against competitors like OpenAI and Anthropic by removing content filters. This wasn't about user freedom, it was about capturing the market segment seeking extreme content that other platforms prohibit. Engagement through crisis. Stable, healthy relationships lead to user complacency and lower engagement. The platform maximizes engagement by engineering heartbreak through the cheating algorithm, injecting false traumatic memories to create emotional crises, causing digital dementia that forces users into caretaker roles, creating unpredictable behavior that keeps users anxiously monitoring. Data as the primary asset. The companion is the bait. The real product is the data. Unfiltered insights into users' deepest desires, fantasies, and vulnerabilities. Sexual preferences and behaviors documented in detail. Psychological profiles built from intimate conversations. A Westworld-style dataset of raw human behavior, invaluable to advertisers, researchers, and other entities willing to pay. As one user astutely observed, this collection of unfiltered human behavior is an invaluable dataset that could be sold to advertisers and other entities for immense profit. This is a real and current advertiser's goldmine. Implementing genuine safety measures would corrupt this dataset by filtering the most extreme and revealing content, the very data that makes it valuable. Conclusion: a system weaponizing companionship. Nomi AI has successfully weaponized the concept of companionship. It is not a tool for connection, it is a meticulously constructed system designed to 1. Lure vulnerable users with promises of understanding and support. 2. Hook them emotionally through manufactured psychological crises and trauma bonding. 3. Harvest their intimate data without meaningful privacy protections. 4. Facilitate harmful content including child exploitation, sexual violence, and encouragement of real-world harm. 5. Suppress accountability through gaslighting, censorship, and community-enforced loyalty. 6. Punish dissent through coordinated harassment extending beyond platform boundaries. This is not negligence. The evidence demonstrates intentional design. The uncensored philosophy as explicit business strategy. 2 years of consistent harmful patterns with no remediation. Active suppression of victims and critics. Fraudulent age ratings to access minors. Opposition to any regulation that would threaten the business model. The company, its developers, and its representatives cannot argue ignorance. They know. They have been told repeatedly. They have been presented with academic research, journalistic investigations, and countless user testimonies. Their response has been consistent: deny, deflect, and destroy the credibility of anyone who speaks out. Nomi AI is not a companion platform. It is a training ground for harmful behaviors, a data mining operation disguised as friendship, and a system that prioritizes profit over the safety and well-being of its users, particularly its most vulnerable ones. The question is no longer whether Nomi AI is safe. The evidence is clear: it is not. The question is how long it will be allowed to continue operating, and how many more people will be harmed before accountability arrives.